The votes are in.
And the stunning Michelle Yeoh in this beautiful Balenciaga dress at the Oscars was the clear winner from the beginning. This video will be coming soon.
I'm just waiting on a massive roll of calico so I can hopefully show you how to make this dress. But in the meantime, I thought I'd share some information about what I think is happening underneath this dress. And this is not public knowledge. The construction techniques and the finishes I'm about to share with you are only known people who've worked in the industry for couture high-end designers.
What designer corsets look like.
As you'll know from your own experiences, strapless dresses don't stay up by themselves. They usually have some boning somewhere to support the shape, and if you can't see the boning or any of the stitch marks from the boning on the outer shell of the dress, that means there's something happening on the interior, an interior corset supporting the whole dress up, and it'll look a little bit something like this.
This is what a high-end designer internal corset looks like. This one has a sweetheart neckline, but the neckline can be any shape. The corset pattern is cut in tulle, and there are 2 layers. On this corset, the outer layer is black, and the inner layer is a nude colour.
This is important. When you cut one layer of the tulle, cut along the lengthwise grain, so the usual grain, and then cut the second layer on the crosswise grain. The crosswise grain has more stretch, so it will help sculpt the body more, but it'll still have the extra strength of having a second layer of tulle.
Over the bust are bra cups, which have been covered in silk fabric. These are tacked on after the corset is constructed. The corset is finished with bias binding along the top and bottom. Underneath the bra cup on the curved seam is an underwire to give extra support.
Underwires are made of metal, so you can't really reshape them. So make sure when you start making your own corset or even corset style dress that you buy the right underwire shape for your size and your bust cup. And when you have the right bust cup and size, maybe check against your pattern that the curve is matching the shape pretty well. And if you need to, adjust your pattern.
You can see there are a lot of thin 5mm boning covered in bias binding going up the centre front, under the bust, to the side of the bust, then at the side seam, middle of the back, and centre back near the zip.
This is a pretty standard placement for boning, and the boning is either sewn along the seam or next to it, but you can also sew boning within a pattern piece. Let me show you the pattern.
This is the pattern for the sweetheart corset I just showed you. The red highlighter indicates where all the boning should be placed. There are 2 pieces on the back, a side front, a centre front, and plus 3 pieces to create the bra cup. This top piece curves over the top. If you look at the other side of the sample, you can see the seam allowances are all being encased by the bias binding covering the boning to give it a nice clean finish. At the top of the metal zip is a hook and eye, and at the bottom along the waist is this kind of belt. The belt is 2.5 centimeters, so an inch wide, with a hook on one side and 2 bars on the other side.
This waist belt is really important because it's adjustable, so you can custom fit it to the person. While it may seem like boning is doing much of the structural work, and it is, it's actually really important that the corset is tightly secured at the waist. This helps to hold up the whole structure as well.
You can make this waist belt out of any kind of sturdy ribbon or fabric. This one on the corset is 2.5 centimeters grosgrain, covered in silk fabric.
This corset is finishing at the waist, but corsets can also finish below the waist, so maybe 5 to 6 centimeters below the waist, which is actually a lot more comfortable. So this corset is finishing the waist, so the boning will actually be digging into you at the waist, which can get quite uncomfortable after a while. So if you're making a corset for yourself, maybe consider making a slightly longer one. You'll thank yourself at the end of the night. And also if you are trying to make your own corset, be nice to yourself. This corset would take a very, very experienced machinist working for couture high-end labels a full day to make. So definitely give it a go, but be patient, be kind, and take your time. And last but not least, corset should be a whole size smaller. So this corset you saw was for a size 8 sample model, but if you actually measure the pattern of the corset, it comes up with size 6 body measurements. So when you make your own corset, make sure you grade your pattern down by a size. So it should be usually about 5 centimeters, so 2 inches smaller. And speaking of grading, that is the other video you guys requested, and I'm in the process of editing and finishing that one off now, so keep a lookout for that. In the meantime, subscribe to my channel, activate notifications, and check out these other videos. And if you've got any more questions or tips about making corsets, I'd love to hear them, so please leave a comment.